What's up, guys? It's your girl Tania
and Lauren,
and welcome back to Ready to Change. So as y'all know, we always do an icebreaker before every single episode, and this time we're gonna do the sibling challenge. I know y'all heard of it on TikTok, so let's get into it.
Okay, close your eyes. Let me see you now.
Got the most whoopings growing up? Who got in the least amount of trouble growing up? Who is the rebel child? Who made better grades in school? Who talked back more? Who is the funniest? Who is the most expensive child? Who is more financially responsible? Who goes out more? Who spends the most money on unnecessary things? Who will get married first? Who will have kids first? Who has the most style? Who has had the most boyfriends or girlfriends? Who is the meanest? Who is the loudest? Who is the sneakiest? Who is more caring? Who is the overdramatic one? Who is the overprotective one? Who would be the last to leave the house after they're grown? Who would put y'all in a nursing home?
Ooh, okay.
Can we keep going?
Let's keep going.
All right, so boom, y'all. Last episode, we talked about our trauma. Y'all got a good insight of what we've been through, what our childhood looked like, the experiences that we've been through.
I wouldn't say a good insight. I would say a little snippy snip.
A little sample.
A little peeky
a
boo.
little tasty
Because we
taste.
was kind of editing stuff like, oh, that's too much.
Yeah.
But the more that you get to know us, the more I feel like you'll get to know our stories personally.
Yeah.
Because we scathed.
Yeah, y'all saw a little sample.
Yeah.
So this topic, we're going to be talking about that healing stuff. Y'all heard about the little drama. Now we about to talk about how we started our healing journey.
Okay. So the first question is, can you share a moment when you first felt called to start healing?
Yes. So I was actually going through a relationship problem with Stefan. So people who don't know Stefan, like we didn't. But no, I want to say it was probably in 2021. I was pregnant with Amir, and I was just going through a hard time in the relationship with Stefan.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting in my room and I was just bawling, crying, and I was like, Stefan, like, why do we keep like arguing? Why do you keep cheating? Why do you like what's going on? And he's like, the best thing you can do to me is just focus on yourself. So then that resonated with me because I was just like, you're right. Like, I can't control your actions. I can't control anything. You're fighting your demons, and I feel like I'm able to save you, and I can't save you. I gotta save myself. And I felt like I was drowning.
Yeah.
So what about you?
Because we get into relationships, we get into friendships, we get into all the things. So, I started mine probably in 2019, so maybe like 2 years ago, 2 years before you. And I just, it started with me crying in the club, and you was actually there that day. Yeah.
And I was like getting all upset because...
Well, I was crying in the club because like everybody around me was in relationships and I was the single person. I was always the single friend, the single daughter, the single sister, the professional, but never the one to be loved properly. And so there was one day I had this realization where I was like sitting in the club while I was standing in the club because we never paid for nothing. So I was standing in the club in this white dress that was too tight. And at the time I was wearing clothing that accentuated everything that I had because I felt so bad about myself. But I'm standing in the club, too tight dress on, my feet hurt, like getting stares from bums. And I just started crying. I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, what am I? And like, it wasn't like a little cute, like, it was like a dramatic cry. I'm pretty sure, like, I think the bartender was like, oh, she good? Like, and so from that point, it was like a deep realization. I got into a toxic relationship with a great guy, but a guy that was unhealed himself. And so we got this on again, off again thing where cheating, infidelity. It was also someone that my friend was involved in the past. I didn't know until after we were committed. It created division in the friendships. And so, like I was going through friendship trauma. I was going through my own self-esteem issues. I was going through just my own personal healing. And so I felt like God really called me to like spend time with myself, go deep into my wilderness, and start my healing journey.
So like, what was your breaking point to the point where you were just like, I need to heal, like really heal?
Yeah, I would say my personal breaking point, it was when I lost everything. It was like, because I came over your house and I had these little lots. I'm like, I'm not doing no more trauma. I'm not doing no more toxic stuff. It takes Tania to tell the story, but for me, I was into it with every single friend that I had. I lost every single person. I lost every single friend that I had. I was in a relationship that literally was not healthy for me, that was not conducive for me. I also lost my job. So I started a job in January. I got laid off 3 months later. So I got laid off of my job. I had to move out of my apartment, didn't know where I was going to move, lost every single friend that I had. I have never really experienced at that time genuine, pure, intentional love. And that is what prompted me to really try to like dig deep and figure out why. And it wasn't about like externalizing blame, like, oh, I'm blaming this friend, or I'm blaming this dude, or I'm blaming this, or I'm blaming that. Like, my outer circumstances is a reflection of my inner world. So what's happening in my inner world to create the chaos that I'm experiencing? We had to break real quick because the kids are over here. We'll do a little snippet, but they was trying to get out today.
I had to lock them in because if not, they're gonna keep mommy, 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 and
so it's time for the little break.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was my outer world is a reflection of my inner world, and so I had to dig deep and figure out like, why is my life in shambles? And there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of loneliness. Like, I, at that period of time, was in deep solitude, and it wasn't voluntary either.
I think it was like COVID. It's like when COVID just started like popping off too.
Yeah, it was from the end of 2019 through all of 2020, and not like sitting in my realizations. I'm like, oh no, this, I'm not gonna keep living like this. Like, I'm not gonna keep being disrespected by the people that I'm dating. I am not gonna continue to be like arguing and doing all this toxic stuff with friends. I had a master's degree and I felt like a secretary. Like, when I was, like, I'm over here building boxes and swag bags and all this stuff. And I'm like, dang, like, my career is not aligned. I'm not utilizing any of my gifts. It was just like everything that I wanted in life, I was nowhere near. Yeah. Like,
it felt off. It felt like you were
off. I was in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
I literally, and I'm like, I gotta dig deep. So that was my story.
Yeah, and it's so crazy because when I think back, like, I feel like I'm in my healing journey. Yeah. I feel like I'm in the process.
What stage of the healing journey would you say? Like,
I probably would say I'm in the middle. I feel like I said, it's really started where I had to like sit in my own stuff was when I was getting evicted.
Yeah.
I lost my job. I just had a mirror and I was just like, God, what? Like, I feel like my world was just crumbling down. I remember sitting in the bathtub and I was like, if it was not for my kids right now, like, I don't want to be here. Like, my kids is what literally got me, my kids and God, but like pushed me to keep going. Because if I did not have my kids, I probably would have just off myself. But that's how dark I was. And I remember, I still have this picture and it's so cute, but I gotta show them. But it was when we went hiking. It was with the She Girls.
Yeah.
And that day I was just so sad. But in that moment, like, I feel like as I was going up the hill and I was listening to gospel music and I just felt like God was just telling me, like, it's okay. Like, just be patient, be patient, be patient. And like I just felt so released, and I was like, I just need to surrender. Like my world feels like chaos right now, but I need to surrender it. Like I have zero control. And so I'll be back. But yeah, I feel like when my world was crumbling down, I feel like God was just telling me like to be patient, be in solitude. And that's when we had moved in with mom for a couple of months. And then we moved to the townhome, and that's when I started working 2 jobs. And I was just really, really emotional. So I was like, every time I feel like I have like nothing else, like God just comes back and just like, here it's the end. Like I told you to be patient. So I feel like in that midst of that, I feel like that's when my healing journey started, because that's when I really started tapping into like really listening to God and being patient and surrendering, because I used to be a control freak. I tried to control every single outcome. I tried to control my relationship. I tried to control a lot of stuff. And then when things started going downhill, I feel like God was just telling me like to need to be patient and surrender.
What does healing mean to you? Because like we keep saying like this is when I started my healing journey. Like what behaviors does that mean?
I feel like for me, it starts with self-reflection and taking accountability for your own actions, because we can always point the finger and be like, oh, this person did that, this person did that. But it's just like, nah, like what is going on internally where I'm feeling this way? Why do I have anxiety? Why do I feel triggered? Why do I keep attracting these type of people? Like like why does my world feel like I'm just getting so much negative stuff? Like, and I feel like for me, healing starts within. It starts with sitting down with yourself, asking like those hard questions, like, why are you so insecure? Where is this coming from? Why do you keep attracting these type of people, these type of men, these type of relationships? Like, what are you seeking for? What kind of voids are you trying to fill? What about you?
So I want to call out like what you were saying a lot is like asking the question, why, because it like, I don't know, it's like trying to get to the root of your issues, which I like. For me, healing is acknowledging that I am not perfect. It means acknowledging that I am not okay. Like scratch a perfect. Like healing means saying I am not okay. And I have to get to the root of why I'm not feeling great about myself. I'm not feeling great in my human experience. It means getting really honest with yourself. And that's the thing about social media is sometimes we get on social media and we fake like we're okay. And even outside of social media, even when we're in real life and you go around people and you're like, I'm fine. Everything is wonderful. No, I'm actually not okay. And I have to say, people be like, I'm good. I'm great. My world is fine. But it's like, no, I'm not okay. And healing for me starts with the fact that I'm actually not okay. I'm actually breaking and getting really honest about like how I feel and what my reality is. My reality is that I'm not okay. I'm breaking. I'm suffering. I'm in pain. And then to your point, asking the question, why? Like, why is this?
And it's funny because when I think about AA, and you know how like people like
AA is Alcoholics Anonymous.
And when people like
Alcoholic Anonymous. No, Anonymous.
No.
How do you say that word?
And Anonymous.
Oh, Anonymous. Dang, I don't know what I was saying.
So, but anyways, when people be like, hi, my name's like, for example, hi, my name's Nia and I'm alcoholic. And I feel like the first step is acceptance. Like,
And it's like what you just said is, hi, my name is Tania, and I'm labeling. Like I'm labeling myself. Okay. So what behaviors did you, like we're talking about some of our core definitions, but like what behaviors did you like demonstrate? And are you demonstrating now? Because you're like, hey, I'm still in the thick of my healing journey.
Yeah, that's a good question. I like it. So people who knew me back then, they know I was an angry person. Like I had so much anger built up inside of me. I was angry. I used to fight all the time. And I think, I don't even necessarily want to say it's anger. I feel like it was just more like sadness that just was just like made me like angry. But I really genuinely, I feel like it was just like that little girl inside of me that was just sad. But yeah, I had like anger problems. I used to attach myself with people who were going through like hard times just so I can feel better about my own
yourself. Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Like I noticed that. Like I noticed like all my friends, we were, you know, they say misery loves company, and that's true. I was hanging around miserable people, and I'm being real. This is my
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't mean they're bad people, but they
Yeah.
were miserable.
Yeah.
So yeah, and what else? I feel like I was smoking weed at one moment in time, like especially in my college years when I didn't have my daughter. I used to get high when I woke up, in the middle of the day, after basketball practice, before basketball practice, before I went to sleep, and just
Yeah.
trying to numb those emotions because I was such an emotional person. I had so much pain inside of me. And so that's how I knew. And then when I started having kids, I saw myself taking myself out, like my anger out on them. Like I wouldn't even be able to get out of bed because I was just so deep in my depression where I
Yeah.
couldn't show up for my kids authentically. And I think
Yeah.
I had a conversation with Aaliyah. She was probably about 4. And I just seen like me projecting myself on her, and she would have all these like tendencies where she was like afraid or like saying certain stuff, and I'm like, am I the reason why her behavior is like this? And I was just like, I can't.
And
Like,
how did that feel? Like when you had to ask yourself that, like how did that feel for you?
it made me feel horrible because when I think about like how my dad was to me and how when he projected his anger out on me, I felt alone. I felt sad. I feel like I didn't have a safe place. And now, and now like my present day, that's why I said I'm continue to heal. But now I take accountability. So if I am in a bad mood, I do see myself getting angry or this and a third, like I'll be quick to say sorry to my kids. I'll be quick to like catch myself. I'm like, all right, Tania, like what's going on? Like be real. Like I started to be real with myself. And then I seek peace more than anything. So before I react, I kind of like count to 10, or I just kind of like, I kind of just stare and like talk to myself like, I'm not gonna give people my energy. Like if I'm irritated, if I'm mad, I'm just gonna walk away or sit there or just like, okay.
Yeah. I think for me, as a child-free person, I love the fact that she's a mama and I'm child-free. Like my behaviors when I knew that I needed to heal was that, first of all, clothing.
Yeah.
Like I was kind of like the ugly duckling that got prettier later in life, or maybe I never really knew that I was pretty.
Yeah.
I didn't really start getting attention until high school. I didn't know that I had a body or I looked a certain way. And so when I started getting attention, probably in college, I got addicted, and I felt like if I didn't have, and I knew the type of clothing, like I knew that all the way down to the material. I knew that if I had anything with spandex, like 8% spandex or something like that, it was gonna make me pop. And so it's like I got addicted to like wearing clothes that were revealing because my self-worth was on the floor. So in order to pick that up and feel good about myself, I wore tight. I had this quote that said, I wore the tight clothes to compensate for what I thought I lacked. And it was a little poem, a little my artsy side, but like that was a big indicator. I think I dated people that fuck a dislike. They didn't enjoy me. They didn't see me. They didn't value me. They used me. And so it's like, and I knew because like, I enjoyed being mistreated. Like my mom used to always say, like, if you treat Lauren right, she's going to dump you. Like I didn't know, like good treatment didn't feel good to me. And so when you look at my history of the people that I've dated, it's been like people that don't see me, people that don't value me, people that only want one thing from me, people that think that I'm arm candy, but like you're not choosing me wholeheartedly and with your chest. And I kept dating that person over and over and over and over, wearing these tight clothes, smiling up in everybody's face, acting like I'm okay. But in the reality, it's like, I'm sad. I'm empty. I'm unfulfilled.
You didn't really love yourself.
I didn't love myself. I didn't see myself. And that's the journey that I'm on even now. Like my self-worth, and like people talk about healing, love. No, when you really get into the work, like my self-worth was so low. I did not see me having value at all.
Yeah.
I thought that I was valueless, unimportant. And so it's like when you experience some of those things, and I also was in an abusive relationship with myself to the point where like I remember being at work and I was like, nobody's ever gonna like you or love you. And I was saying like calling myself bees and like literally beating myself up so bad to the point where like, and I was having this conversation while I was at work sitting at my desk and like, I'm like typing and trying like, not even typing, but you know how you fake type, like, and so I'm like trying to prevent the tears from coming down. But like the inner voice in my head was just like, you suck, you're horrible, you're not good, nobody's gonna love you. Who the fuck do you think you are? Like over and over and over. And I had to like literally pack up my stuff, walk outside, go into the car. And then I cried and I was like, I can't believe I just talked to myself like that.
Yeah.
And it's like that happened regularly for so long that I didn't even realize that I was doing that stuff. And so when I came to that realization, I'm like, I got some issues. Like I really need to pause. And all of that happened pre me losing everybody, pre me losing my job, like there were signs, like behavioral signs, like that's an action. Me beating myself, that's an action, that's a behavior, that's something that I am doing that could be observed. And so like, yeah, those are some of my behaviors.
Yeah. And I guess like in the middle, like why I say I'm still healing is because I feel like I'm in the point where like anger was a huge thing, and I feel like I came a long way when it came down to my anger. But me knowing my worth, that's what I'm still trying to work on, because I don't see what people see. Like when people used to compliment me like, oh Tania, you're pretty, or oh Tania, you're this, you're that, and I was like, where? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't see it, or I don't see any, like I don't know. And I'm really trying to work on self though. And I remember sitting on the couch. Have you seen the Cruella de Vil movie?
Yeah.
You know, she's all confident, she's bold, she's this. And I remember Stephon was like, Tania, like that's how you need to be. And I like sat there and I had to like go take a bath, and I just started crying and crying and crying, because it wasn't like the fact that he told me like I need to be confident, but I already knew that about myself. I knew I lacked confidence. I knew I don't love myself. And so in that moment, that's how I knew like I have a serious like deeper root of why I cannot see myself, why I don't love myself, why do I have no self-value or no words, why do I feel that way? And so I think that's what I'm still trying to work on right now. So that's why like healing is like ongoing. I feel like there's no, I mean, there could be a point, but I feel like it's more like you tackle one task, you technically heal from the situation, or you evolve, but there's always so much more work to do. I feel like it's just like a marathon.
It's also like wound scars, like the wound might heal, but the scar
will always be
will
there.
remain. And so it's like whatever your early childhood traumas are, whatever wounds you collect during your early childhood trauma, like that is gonna form a scar, and that scar will always be around.
I'm laughing because it's so true, because
like it's not gonna go away. I have read every book, been to multiple therapists, and I still like the issue prevails. And so now it's just about like, to me, healing is awareness. Healing means knowing like I know what I do. I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. I know I have tools for when like I need to navigate this. Like that's what healing is to me. But the wound itself, the wound ain't going nowhere. Like my lovable wounds or my social anxiety, my friendship, relational wounds, all of the people, like that is not going anywhere. That's going to be something that I got to deal with for the rest of my life. Now, like sometimes it could get back, like my life circumstance doesn't have to be impacted by that. I could have people around, but like those inner wounds to me will always be there. And it's up to me to be aware enough to say like, oh, that's a wound. Like that's a trauma. I'm triggered. A wound was triggered. And have to work through that.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah. Is this getting stupid?
Oh.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to edit this now.
Okay.
Get my hand.
So, what emotions did you find hardest to work through, and what helped you most?
My anger.
Okay, so anger is an emotion. What about your anger was so challenging to work through?
I guess for me, it was hard to work through because I was such a genuine person. Like I would literally give the clothes off my back for the people that I care for.
Yeah.
And so when people did not give me the same type of love in return, that would really, really get under my skin because I only have a select few.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
I'm not like if I say I F with you, that means I genuine F with
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
And I don't give everybody access to that. So
Yeah.
it's just like it really hurt me because it's like, why would you do that to me? And I feel
Yeah.
like going back to childhood, I feel like through, you know, like having certain friends where like they would talk about me or be fake or like literally make me feel like I wasn't anything to them, basically. I feel like that stemmed from like friendship wounds,
Yeah.
the bullies, and this, that, and the third. And then obviously like me and dad's relationship. But it was hard for me to like overcome my anger because it was just felt like I was never heard or I was always overlooked or misunderstood and I wasn't receiving that love back. So I just was like, you know what? F y'all. Y'all genuinely don't F with me. Y'all don't see my value. So why should I care? And so, I mean, it was hard. I feel like everybody was out to get me, that type of thing. Like I feel like no one saw me for me. Like they always misjudged me.
Yeah.
Or they was jealous or low-key envious and like competition or, you know, was very selfish and I'm very like selfless. So it's just like I was battling back and forth because I'm just like, bro, why?
Yeah.
And how did I overcome it? Right?
Yeah.
I overcame it because I was tired of giving everybody so much energy.
Do you feel like you still battle with anger now?
Not as much. Yeah, not as much because I feel like anger is like a sense of like negative energy and it takes so much energy to be angry. Hold on. Let me see you do it. Okay, but yeah, like for real though. But I don't see myself getting angry anymore. I feel like people, anything that has that much control over me to take me to that level is too much control. So I'd rather be able to control my emotions.
Yeah.
Not let them have access to me.
Yeah.
And just accept it for what it is. And just move on.
Yeah.
What was an emotion that you had to work through?
Well, I think it's kind of interesting that we're so opposite because I didn't really deal with anger. Hold on, I gotta reset this vibes because I don't know how we got onto rap. We're on
Let me see
lo-fi.
you do it. Right. Let me see you do it.
I'm gonna edit this. Okay, so anyways, I think it's so interesting because for you, while you are angry, I'm sad. Like, and so I had a friend, so maybe ex-friend, I don't know. But I had someone in my life that was like, what's that movie with the emotions? Inside Out.
Yeah.
And she was like, sadness touches the will and it just takes over. And like getting sadness away from my will is crucial for me. Like it's hard because like if your home base is anger, my home base is sadness.
Yeah.
Like when I am alone by myself away from the world, I don't feel peace. I feel sad. And so like I think that there are times where, and when you overcome, I don't believe in this idea of overcoming. I believe in the idea of becoming as aware of yourself that you can be. And so I think that I'm aware that sadness takes the wheel. And when sadness tries to creep in, sometimes I let it.
Yeah.
And we just vibe out. Come on, sadness. Let's all hang out today.
Yeah.
And then there's other times where I challenge it. There's other times that I try to like troubleshoot it or problem solve it. Sometimes I just let it be. And it just depends on like the mood, the depth, the intensity. But that is my home base. My home base is sadness. And then also like what I'm noticing too, probably over this last couple of years, my home base has also been fear. So it's like either I'm sad or I'm fearful. And having to coach myself through both of those like less than desirable emotions. Like those are the two that I kind of I deal with or I try to navigate.
I like the fact that you said challenge.
Yeah.
I love that because that's so true. And I think that even that for like my anger, because like a couple days ago, you know, me and mom was having a little argument. Said some things that back then that would have triggered me, would have made me go from 0 to 100. But I literally said, like, I can either react to this or is this like a sign, like, let's see if I'm able to conquer this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't have to choose to sit here and entertain what's going on.
Or express your anger unproductively.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I could choose how I
react
Yeah.
or how I intake it. But then, like I said, for me, because I don't think I've mastered that yet, but I just like, you know what? Like, I don't have to be here and listen to this. And I just got up and walked away and I went upstairs and I was smiling, laughing, you know, I didn't let that consume me.
Yeah.
I literally like released it and I was like, okay, well, obviously she's having a bad day. Has nothing to genuinely have anything to do with me. And I didn't take it personal. Back then I would have took all that heat and like that would have triggered me. That would have been like, this reminds me when I was blah 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 blah
And
blah.
we ain't doing that.
And I'm not. I refuse.
Yeah.
Like I've been such like and that's why like I've been such like at peace. Like I've been like the most happiest I've ever been, even through trials and errors, through anything. But I guess the difference is like I sit here and I think I feel my emotions because back then I used to like numb.
Yeah.
And now I feel what I feel and like I enjoy feeling these emotions. I enjoy being sad because for so long I was angry. It was either angry or I was numb. There was no in between. Like I feel these emotions. I ask myself, I talk to myself, why do I feel? I have a notepad, I write stuff down and figure it out. Like I was probably up to like 3 o'clock in the morning and I started back from 0 to 5 at the old house. I said, what do I remember? I'm trying not to get emotional. But I was like, from 0 to 5, what do I remember? I broke everything into categories. I started with track. How, like, and I wrote about, like, what was going on in track. What was those emotions that I was feeling?
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because I actually enjoy track. I like to compete. It was like a self sport. Like, I feel like I was able to push myself to the max. I didn't have to worry about passing the basketball. I didn't have to have these certain expectations to score a certain amount. All I would have to do was win. And I enjoyed that. And then I started thinking about my siblings. I remember when we were younger and get emotional. But I remember you was just like the best big sister ever. And we used to play with dolls. I'm getting off topic, y'all. But I was just saying, like, I'm to the point where I'm really, like, tapping in within self. And I think that's what all about healing is, figuring out where the root is.
Yeah.
Literally, if you have to go back to way back when to figure it out, do that.
Yeah.
Because that's literally what healing is. And I actually did some shadow work with Aaliyah, and she started crying. I'm trying to get emotional. Because, like, Aaliyah, she's so self-conscious about herself. And so, like, we'll usually do affirmations and then we'll do, like, some type of, like, workshop self-reflection thing. And I was like, Aaliyah, think about a time when you was 4, when you was really, really sad. And I was like, you look how far you came. And I told her to talk to herself. And while she was talking to herself, she started crying. And I was like, and she just gave me a hug. And it was just so cute and so emotional. But it starts so young, though. Even, like, you think about us. And we kind of like, okay, that's normal. No, that shit is not normal.
Or our parents.
Yeah.
Like, it's everybody. And healing the need to heal will forever be around because people are imperfect people.
Yes.
Like imperfect people doing the best they can to navigate their own lives, to raise other people. We are bound to get burned in some type of way. The need for healing will always it will always remain.
Yeah. And I know, like, I have a few friends, like, we're literally sitting here, we were just talking. I just came over there so she could do my eyebrows. Shout out to my cousin Brianna. But I went over to her house just to, like, max. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be in and out. But, like, the energy I felt when I was in there, like, it just seemed good energy, but it seemed like something was wrong. And I was like, you know what, like, let me just sit down and, like, just talk.
Yeah.
And it ended up just going to the conversation where Brianna was expressing herself, like, how there was some type of feeling inside that she could not figure out, but she knew she was projecting it on her child, but she didn't figure out why. And then Armita But yeah, it's a lot of people who just trying to figure out where the root is. And that's part of it. That's the first step. Like acknowledging it, seeing something is wrong, and just trying to navigate like what it is.
I would say that's the first step.
Mm.
And I would also say that's the entire journey.
Yeah.
Because for me, like, it almost feels like I'm not a swimmer, but like diving into the pool and like just imagine somebody swimming deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And there's something at the end of that pool and you don't know what it is. And then you're just journeying to understand like, what is this thing? And there's a need to go up for air and just like, but it's just like you're journeying to the root of your stuff. And then once you get to that root and you swim back up like the Little Mermaid and it's still gonna suck just because you hit the root, just because you grab that coin. Life is not gonna be better, but you have awareness now. So,
and then you'll have like little things that will help you navigate.
You have your toolbox.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you begin the process of forgiving yourself or forgiving others?
I haven't gotten to that point yet. Well, let me stop. I've gotten to the process of forgiving others because that's easy for me. You know that is. Like, it's so hard for me to like just, oh, I hate you. I'm never talking to you ever again. I'm more empathetic, sympathetic, whatever, and just like, okay, I understand. Like, yeah, it hurts, but like, I don't hate you. Like, I forgive you, but it's hard to forgive myself. And that's why I said I'm always trying. Yeah, like I'm always putting myself last, and this is where I'm at in my healing journey. But it's easy for me to forgive people, I guess, because like I'm so like I care about people, especially like the people that I genuinely care, where I don't take things too hard. Like I might get mad in that moment of time, but like probably within like a day, I'm just like, let's just talk about it. You tell me what's going on. Like I want to truly understand. Like I swear that's my biggest thing. Like I truly want to understand where you're coming from, because it helps me not like take things personal. Like for instance, I can give an example. Being in a relationship actually helped me be more understanding, be more patient, because a lot of people are going through their own stuff. Yeah. And they may, like, for instance, him cheating a lot. He gonna see this video. Like, why would you? But anyways, but this is a good example because this is for not just me. This is like to bring awareness. But his cheating, he used to tell me like, you know, Tia, it has nothing to do with you. Like I have ego issues. Like when I was younger, I didn't get any girls. I was a weird kid. So now that I'm older, now my body's maturing. Now, like, you know, I'm starting to look good. His glow up. He's having his glow up now. Like me seeing women like me is doing something to my ego. I have an ego problem. Yeah. So then I was just like, okay, that makes sense. But what are you doing to work on that? Like you're hurting me because you're going through your issues, because like, you know, whatever. But a lot of stuff that people are going through and how they treat people has nothing to do about the individual and how they're treating them, but it's something that they're dealing with. So I guess that's why it's not hard for me to take things personal, because I understand. Like I put myself in other people's shoes. It's your empathy. I think it just depends on how you define forgiveness. Yeah. And I actually might be like, because I'm trying to think, I don't know if I'm a forgiving or an unforgiving person. Yeah. What is like forgiveness is like when it truly doesn't like affect you. Like you're not still dwelling on it. Like, let me Google, because I'm like, I don't know if I'm forgiving, to be honest. Yeah, like, I mean, it's hard to like really to truly like forgive. Yeah, or to know if I'm like, if is that I'm doing my work. Is that something I need to consider? What's the definition? Ready or willing to forgive. So willing or ready. Hold on, let me define forgive. Stop feeling angry or resentful. That's a good one. So forgiveness, by definition, is to forgive. Stop feeling angry or resentful towards someone for an offense, a flaw, or a mistake. Stop feeling angry or resentful. Oh, we're gonna edit that out. No, if it's saying not feeling resentful for a flaw or a mistake, wow, like this
conversation has been like very eye-opening for me because I didn't know that I had issues with forgiveness, but like by this definition, I do. And I can't tell you how to do your work around this because I don't think that I ever, and maybe this is where I'm leaning into like your skill set, because we always talk about like one of Tania's strongest skills is like empathy. And
I
so
hate it.
I think it's really cool. I don't want it for me because I don't want to feel everything that everybody else feels. But I think that like clearly that has aided you in being able to forgive and understand other people. By this definition, I be holding on to shit. I honestly, I should probably do some journal all the people, write out the names, and like on a scale of 1 to 5, how resentful am I? And if like, I think that would be a great exercise for me, like literally writing down all of the people that I have a grudge to, because there's people, we was talking about this the other day. I have this thing where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna put my nuts in your face. Like, and I literally said this before we got on the camera. I'm like, oh, there was an offense here. I'm angry here. I'm resentful here. Nut time. And even if I don't, I probably do come off like that. When I be in my bag. But I guess like forgiveness might, for me, be an area that I have to continue to like work at. So this is an eye-opening because I was like, wait, what does forgiveness mean? How do you define forgiveness? Because in order for me to self-assess and say like, yeah, I'm a forgiving or I'm an unforgiving person, I got to get clear on these definitions. And by this definition, there are still people that I'm angry towards. There's still people that I feel misunderstood by. There's still people that I want apologies from. And that's another thing too. I don't think that I am able to truly forgive unless the other person is accountable. Like that's big for me. Accountability is probably my number one value. Like when we start getting into like conversations about our personal values, when you are not accountable, when you have done something that has offended me or offended someone else, and you are unaccountable to your behaviors, it's really, 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 really hard for me to be forgiving. And there's a lot of unaccountable people. Like me, that's one thing that I don't struggle with. If I showed up crazy, I'm going to come right to you with my tail in between my legs and be like, I didn't show up right. And this is what I did wrong. And this is what I'm trying to do better. But when I am in relationship with people that are unaccountable, which is most people are not accountable, I get to a point where it's hard for me to exchange forgiveness. And that's so unchristian like because it makes forgiveness conditional. Like when you are really like following Christ and who Christ is or leaning into the skill of empathy, forgiveness is not conditional. All things are free. You know what I'm saying? So there is growth because I probably have an angry list. I have a resentful bag. I want to put nuts in people's faces, and I have work to do on that journey.
And I think,
and thank you for asking that question. Well, I think I asked you, but these are your questions. So thank you because I really like brings things to the surface and to light for me.
Is it easier for you to forgive yourself than, because I think that was the second part of the question.
Oh, my bad. Okay, forgive myself.
So like for instance, you know how, let's say you was dating a guy, right? And we was probably messing with them, but then if things don't work out or he took advantage of you, blah, 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 like, oh, that guy, this, da, da, da. But like we continue to entertain it regardless. So like that's just a problem. That's for me too, because I got a little story where I say details.
I think I have an abusive relationship with myself. Like I think that the self-abuse is like getting better, but like I don't know that I don't think I'm forgiving. Like, no, I don't think that if I make a mistake, like, remember that time that I cussed out that lady at my apartment complex over some stupid stuff because she got a little attitude and then, you know, whatever. Like, that's the type of stuff that I will beat myself up for days, a long time. Like, when I behave outside of what I would prefer my character to be, I am not forgiving towards myself. Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
So I think the skill of forgiveness, that's just something that I have to
work
do.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More and more. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
This is what I mean when I'm really hard on myself, because I'm like, it's not good enough. We're gonna have to record. Yeah. All right. Daily. Ask the question.
Okay, so how has wait, which one did you want me to do? You want me to do this one?
You made you did that one.
Okay, so what are some small daily actions you take to nurture your healing?
Crying. But again, sadness be touching the wheel. But like, for me, crying is such a release. Like, I cry when I'm happy. I cry when God speaks to me. I cry when I'm worthy. I cry when I feel like I'm unworthy. Crying to me is being really honest about what you feel and how you feel, why you feel the way that you feel. So I cry, but then outside of just like emotional honesty, like, I cry, I journal, I self-reflect. And I think sometimes journaling, like, the wave is have a pen.
So crying.
Don't start from there. I do not. Okay. So things daily, the things that you can do if you are navigating your healing journey. Like I said, crying, because it's just an emotional release. Journaling, but journaling doesn't have to be through pen and paper. Journaling could be. She's using a camera as a mirror, but I am too. Come on, Lex. But I think this video might be over.
That's cute. Better hurry up though. So here's some tools that you can use, baby girl. You can use journaling, because that's what my sister like to do. I mean, even me, because, you know, my thoughts just be going everywhere. Journaling, crying to your emotions, telling yourself, doing some self-affirmations, listening to some cheerful music. My sister like listening to jazz to ground her. I like listening to some F girl, you know what I'm saying? Talk about pop my... But, you know, whatever that makes you feel better. If that's sitting outside in nature, I used to do that, especially when I was started my healing journey. I used to sit outside by the lake, just chill. I just needed quietness to process my emotions, to sit in my emotions. Get a support group. Speaking of support groups,
we're not ready.
We're not.
Well, I'm a perfectionist. If you are interested in joining the Ready to Change online community, drop a comment below. Drop your emails below. Just pull up, because we would love to be in community with you. We would love to heal with you. We would love to be just holding the same space with one another. So drop your emails below.
Men and women, don't just because we women don't mean we all as a community, both genders don't need to heal.
Yeah, both genders, and then also like we can learn from one another. We could just grow together. It doesn't like, I don't know why we have segregated healing spaces. We need some group healing. We need some intersectional, like, men and women healing together, where we're this video is over. Okay.
Bye guys.
Bye.